Hi, I'm Ludwig from Germany. Today we continue our interpretation of Tolkien's Symbolism. As said before, I repeat, interpretations can never be true or verifiable in a scientific sense. This means there may well be other logical and coherent and thus valid interpretations. I hope that my interpretations are enlightening and inspiring to you. So in the last video we analyzed that the door keeps opening for being successful with our projects for a better world because of the war between the two factions of the global deep state. In this respect, we should focus on transforming and dissolving the bad and negative within our own mind, as we always manifest in the outer world what is within us, even if we are unaware of it. So if we finally bestir ourselves to take heart and become active for a better world, it is important to remind ourselves not to wage any war against evil, but to feed our energy to the positive we want to bring about. Any fight against the evil in others tends to make it stronger. Why is that so? The answer is, this is because of the One Ring within our own mind. Sauron and the One Ring belong together. So now it's time at last to take a closer look at the One Ring. For only by its dissolution can we ultimately really create a better, more human world. We always create in the outer world what we believe in on the lowest level of our consciousness. If we believe in the good in man on that level, we contribute to a world in which the good can prevail. If we believe in the bad in men on that level and allow ourselves to be guided by the fear of that bad in other people, then thereby we contribute to a world of suffering, fear, ugliness, and evil. Man is an eternally living soul coming from God. Our true nature is selfless love, childlike innocence, and happiness. In addition to that, however, we have created ourselves an ego in the very distant past of our soul. That ego keeps trying to displace our soul nature and producing its opposite within us, namely a sense of inner separation from others, producing selfishness, fear and distrust, sense of guilt and anger, suffering and misery. If we want to give ourselves the proper orientation in our life, it is necessary to see things the right way around. That means, in our most inner being, we are the selfless love of our soul, and through our self-created ego, we are in jeopardy to become selfish and evil. This way is the proper way around to see it. Now our ego tries to twist this proper order and turn it upside down. For our ego, we ourselves have no ego. We are the good ones, and the others are selfish and must be impelled to be good. This is how our ego instinct sees things as soon as conflicts arise. If we identify with our ego so much that we lose the proper orientation in life, then we see other people as evil and fight against the evil in them to impel them to be good. In this manner, our ego turns the world upside down and twists our proper orientation into its opposite. If we surrender to this interpretation of the world, for our ego, man is evil, and we must fight a sanctifying fight against that evil to keep that evil in check and make it good. If we see man as evil, and man can be made good only through the proper concept, the proper religion or proper ideology, then it is this very tempting view by which our ego may ultimately rule over us completely. This contorted view of our ego that other people are evil and all concepts developed out of that contorted view to save man and or make man good are the One Ring. You could also say all blaming, that is, blaming concepts are the One Ring. There is hardly anything as omnipresently penetrating our human experience as blame. However, due to its omnipresence and immediacy, we are mostly unaware of our own blame. As soon as we are distressed by other people or our life circumstances, blame, the One Ring, intervenes quickly. Simply put, the One Ring executes the following battle program within our mind once there might be the slightest conflict. We are the good ones, others are the bad ones. We are right, others are wrong. We have the true faith, others must be fought as infidels, etc. All of that is blame, and all concepts on that basis are the One Ring. With this ring, Sauron reigns. That means with such concepts, our ego reigns over us. If human beings are good only if they have the proper views, our ideology becomes more important than our actions. But it is the intentionality in our action that decides whether they are good or evil. Good is to do good to others and to abstain from evil. Jesus said, "By the fruits of your labors shall ye be known." The fruits of our thoughts are our actions. So it is our actions that show what we really believe in. So it is not our ideology, not our religious faith that decides whether we are good or evil, but our actions, how we act towards others. Through the view that only people with the right ideology are good, it becomes possible to do evil and declare ourselves as good because we have the right ideology. We might, for instance, define it is good to hit a peacefully demonstrating alleged Nazi because he is a Nazi. We define people as evil, and our battle against such evil people is to make the world a better place. Through blaming concept, it thus becomes possible to do bad and define it as good. And it becomes possible to declare people with the wrong ideology as bad, even though they might only do good to others. Blaming concepts can thus turn everything into its opposite, up to a war is peace and slavery is freedom. Our ego thinks we know about ourselves that we intend only good things. So any problem between us and someone else must be the other person's fault, mustn't it? This shows how difficult it can be in our daily conflicts not to surrender to the temptation of the One Ring within us. The One Ring is the ring of power because if we surrender to our blaming concepts, we only try to gain power over the thinking of others and thus over others in order to be proven right. I am right. Such concepts split society in those having the power to blame others, the powerful, and those who are being blamed and who must pay off their debt, all the rest. Whoever can blame officially wields power. Whoever must pay off such debt lose their power. So blaming concepts split society in top and bottom. In this blaming game, however, everyone is hypnotized by the concepts of guilt and is under their spell. Guilt transforms people with the power to blame into predators taking to bloodlust. And guilt transforms people having to pay it off into prey that cannot escape the predators. The battle for being able to be rather a predator than prey creates a power pyramid, the tip of which is a super predator, that not only feeds on prey but also on other predators at its will. In this manner, blaming systems ultimately create super predators who are the only profiteers of all of us blaming others. In Tolkien's world, this is symbolized by the fact that the One Ring, the blaming concept, ultimately only serves Sauron, so the people at the very top of the emerging power pyramid. This automatic mechanism in the collective mind is reflected perfectly in our monetary system, which we will look at in video 7. With the fundamental religions, ideologies and isms imposing their concepts on the world, it is easy to see that the attitude "only we have the right doctrine" or theory generally contorts the good. It is no good sign for the condition of our world that the fundamentalist sects, ideology and isms have been spreading inflationarily in the 20th century already. If we can no longer think differently than being right ourselves and seeing others as erring and guilty, our thinking becomes obsessive and irrational. Then the Sauron in us has the One Ring on his finger. That means then our ego has total control over us. If this kind of thinking prevails in society, the world becomes hell from which no escape seems possible. If such thinking prevails collectively, the deep state can install a dictatorship-like government, bringing order into this hell by force. In this case, Sauron has the One Ring on his finger in the outer world as well. So even dictatorship is ultimately always a reflection of our collective mind. The power is with the people always. It is always the people who decide whether they act selfishly and surrender their power that way, or whether they selflessly strive for a just world to the best of their knowledge and thus wield their power themselves. Our ego leads us into self-inflicted slavery. Only an intelligent, selfless cooperation for the creation of a just world can lead us to freedom. That is what we must understand. One word regarding Mordor. Whilst the One Ring symbolizes the blaming concepts, Mordor represents our identification with them as if they were the truth. If we identify with our selfish concepts as if they were the truth, the good in us is extinguished by them, symbolized by no positive living creature can live in Mordor. You cannot negotiate with Mordor means we cannot discuss with people who are identified with their concepts as the truth. Now, regarding the 9 ring wraiths, the 9 rings forged by elves symbolize our abilities to influence all 9 areas of the human mind positively by positive spiritual thoughts, the rings of men forged by elves, that we went through in the last video. However, the One Ring transformed all 9 rings of men into ring wraith. That means through our blaming concepts, our positive spiritual thoughts become enmeshed in unstoppable negativity. Let's take the area of our sense of provisioning as an example for the 9. Our need in this area is to feel well taken care of and well provided for. If we are enmeshed in blaming, thus splitting society in better and worse, right and wrong, top and bottom, we run into the danger of being pushed towards that mass who become losers through the blaming concepts. If we more and more either buy into or are forced to pay off an alleged guilt, we will finally no longer have enough for ourselves. In this manner, our sense of guilt inevitably leads to a sense of lack. Our ego processes a sense of lack into stinginess. We do not want to give if we think we do not have enough for ourselves. In the end, this stinginess is made into materialistic concepts controlling our mind. Everyone only thinks of themselves. We can no longer hope for the solidarity of others if we are in need. In this way, the sense of lack becomes stronger and stronger in a materialistic world. A reinforcing sense of lack is transformed into more stinginess and more materialism that in turn reinforce the sense of lack. This is a vicious circle. In a very similar manner, our blaming also leads all other areas of our mind in an ever reinforcing vicious circle. These 9 vicious circles that keep creating our negative reality through our blaming concepts are symbolized by the 9 ring wraiths. The ring wraiths are those evil spirits, the negativity within us reinforcing itself in a vicious circle, that emerge from the One Ring, from blaming concepts. Through every vicious circle, the underlying sense of ego becomes ever worse and more terrible. This aggravation of the terribleness of negative emotions through our fight against them is symbolized by the terribleness of the ring wraith. We can end that negativity, symbolized by the ring wraith, only by leaving the framework of the system given by our blaming concepts, thus by reaching a state of forgiveness and resulting peace. Only if we dissolve our blaming by forgiveness can we overcome the negativity in the 9 areas of our mind, symbolized by the ring wraith only dwindling when the One Ring is destroyed. Every human being holds selfness good things on one hand and selfish things on the other. Our fight against the bad in others gives testimony of our belief in the bad in man and only makes the bad stronger. If we believe in the good in man, we only do good to others, or at least leave them alone and not fight them. That means especially our attitude towards dissenters shows to which degree we believe in the good and to which degree we believe in the bad in men. The symbolism of forging the One Ring in the chasms of Mount Doom and its destruction there symbolize the generation of blaming concepts through an ever-growing sense of guilt and the dissolution of our sense of guilt through amends, reconciliation, self-forgiveness and forgiveness. To decrypt the event in the Lord of the Ring symbolizing the turn in mankind's fate towards a positive development requires us to make some observations regarding the king of the ring wraith. The area of power and sovereignty in our mind is symbolized by the kingdom of Arnor. The king of the ring wraith rises through the destruction of Arnor. So the king of the ring wraith symbolizes the central of the 9 ring wraiths, the vicious circle of powerlessness leading to a desire for power over others. Our collective desire for power creates a power pyramid, transferring all power to its tip and rendering the rest of mankind powerless. Through our collective strive for power and influence, we actually and factually collectively disempower ourselves. As Sauron's most powerful servant, the king of the ring wraith symbolizes the deep state in our outer world. The historical emergence of that power apparatus, that deep state, is encrypted in the story of the Witch King of Angmar. The details can be read in the Ring Dissolution. Overall, a period stretching from the 15th to the 18th century is encrypted in the story of the Witch King of Angmar. During that period, the deep state slowly emerged and gradually imposed their will and power on the European rulers through a mixture of national debt, intrigues, extortions and conspiracies, symbolized by the various evil creatures that the Witch King of Angmar made use of to destroy Arnor. Arnor symbolizing the sovereignty of the European peoples. According to Tolkien's forecast, we might be heading towards the following. After the upcoming downfall of the renegade US elite, we might first of all see a liberation of the collective thinking from the mind control by the mainstream media, which is Frodo's escape from Minas Morgul. And at some point after that, we might also witness the end of the global deep state, of the monetary global elite. We will shed a closer look at the circumstances of the forecast end of the global deep state in our next video. To summarize, the One Ring symbolizes our blaming concepts. We are the good ones, others are the bad ones. We are right, others are wrong. We have the true faith, others are infidels, etc. The evil is created by us seeing others as evil and fighting that evil in them. Through the fight against the evil in others, we contort good and evil ourselves. Such action is evil and defines itself as good because we define our intention as good. The King of the Ringwraith symbolizes the vicious circle of powerlessness created by us surrendering our power by our striving for power. Our collective striving for power and influence concentrates at the tip of the so emerging power pyramid. So in our outer world, the King of the Ringwraith symbolizes the global deep state of the global monetary elite with which they oppress mankind's efforts to liberate ourselves. In the last video, we have already seen that Princess Eowyn symbolizes the selfless service in our struggle for a better, more human world. The next video will be about the unequal battle between these two, the positive outcome of which Tolkien has predicted in The Lord of the Rings. Remember, we can create in this world only what is within us. If we want peace in this world, there must be peace within us first. Like, share and subscribe. If you have questions or ideas, leave me your comments. See you.